everyone, it's WhisperAudios and welcome back to another monthly favourites video. And this month I am sharing with you my favourites from February 2019. Now I realise that I hadn't shared my favourites for January last month, so I'm kind of rolling those together for this video so I don't miss anyone or anything out. So this month is going to be just slightly different. Instead of my favourite song that I have been enjoying, I'm going to share with you my favourite movie that I have watched this month. So a lot of you know that I am very involved with films and I love them, and I go to the cinema every week. I have a Cineworld card which I pay for monthly, and I can see as many movies as I like. And if you have a Cineworld near you, then check out the link below. You get a 3 months cinema if you sign up using my code. But anyway, so I'll be sharing with you my favourite film out of all of the films that I watched for this month, and I'll be including January's films into this kind of favourites. So we'll get started, and I'll just pop my phone open. So I've got it all written down so I don't forget. I upgraded to a iPhone XR recently, and it's massive. I can't kind of get used to it, like the largeness of it, and that's what she said. Anyway, so I watched so many films last month, and up until the point where I'm recording this video today, I've seen 4 films at the cinema, and those films were The Upside, Welcome to Marwen, Glass, and Vice. So I thought, all of those films were pretty good. My least favourite, let's do least favourite. My least favourite film was Glass. Now, I love M. Night Shyamalan, the director of that film. He is such an inspiration to me as a filmmaker personally, and his story and his early films are phenomenal. I love Unbreakable. I love The Sixth Sense, The Village. I love all of his early works. I think they have a lot of soul and emotion to them. But to me, Glass and even Split were quite a reach from Unbreakable to what they are today. Now, I know that, listening to his story about how the concept of Unbreakable came about, I know that Split and Glass are actually, they were the original storyline for Unbreakable, but the studio came on board and they changed it slightly. So I understand that that is the original vision for this kind of story, this tale, so to say. But I felt like Glass was, I don't know, it felt to me like it was overreaching slightly, and I felt like it was really, really trying to be modern and hip. Like the reference to Salt Bae at the beginning, I cringed in my seat. I was like, no. And I think a lot of the acting was, quite over the top. Even though it's meant to be a superhero movie, I don't know. For me, I'm a purist, and I loved Unbreakable so much. I felt like it should have just been left alone and not have this kind of, storyline woven around it. But that was my least favourite. But to be honest, I did really enjoy bits of Glass. Let's always keep the positive there. I really enjoyed James McAvoy's character, and I loved the scene in the pink room where the psychiatrist is talking to each of them, saying like, you think you have superpowers but really you're not a superhero, and so on and so forth. I thought that was really clever and really kind of great acting and storytelling in one room situation. And I also kind of like the twist as well at the end, which I won't ruin for you guys, because just in case some of you haven't seen it, but there is a twist, and I really thought that was clever. So the upside I thought was amazing. I went in having no conceptions about the film. I love Bryan Cranston to bits. I think he's an amazing actor, and I kind of went in thinking, oh, it's going to be just your standard comedy, like rom-com kind of comedy thing where pals get together and have a blast sort of thing. And I kind of thought, oh, it's just going to be a movie. But I thought the acting and the character interaction between Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart were just really great, and I really felt their chemistry together on screen. And it touched on a lot of issues which I thought were quite sensitive, and they dealt with them in a very very adult way, without sacrificing humour as well, because it was funny. It was a funny film. I genuinely laughed out loud at some bits, so that was really good. Vice I saw quite recently, and again I went in with no conceptions about the film. I don't follow American politics an awful lot, if at all, and I only really knew the storyline from the UK perspective of like the Iraq War and 9/11 and all of the things that came after that. So I really didn't know who this Dick Cheney was, and how important and what influence he had on American politics and government at that time. So that was a massive eye-opener, and I really enjoyed the film. It had so many different layers and blend of storytelling in there, and it broke the fourth wall. Like, people directed the camera, like directly talked to the camera sometimes, and you kind of thought, where is this going? And towards the end there's a point where everything kind of turns on its head, and if you've seen it you'll know which bit I'm talking about, the mid-film credit roll. And I think, oh my god, this film is incredibly brave, and it touches upon issues which are very, very sensitive. One thing that hit me so hard like a sledgehammer was the fact that they implied, and they didn't say, but they implied that 9/11 was a inside job, and that was due to all the editing, how they edited one scene to a next, what one character said and how that followed into the next scene. And it was like, wow, this film is brave to mention that and to say that. Now I won't get into what I think about that whole business and all of that, because that's not a subject for this channel. But the film as a whole, performances were phenomenal. Amy Adams is just always amazing and totally transformative. Christian Bale, you would not even recognize him. He has put on like 150 pounds. Sorry, my phone keeps bleeping. He's put on like 150 pounds, heavy prosthetics, different accent, different mannerisms, different way of handling himself. Steve Carell, phenomenal again. I've never seen that man in anything that I didn't like. All the performances were amazing. The script was really good. And yeah, it's a close contender to my favourite. So it was between that and Welcome to Marwen, which was my favourite film of this month. And Welcome to Marwen, again, actually I didn't have any idea what this film was about. I'd never heard of it, and I never even knew that it was coming out and what his storyline was or anything like that, so I went in totally blind. So when the film opens and it is this kind of stop motion animation of this guy in World War II, his plane gets like blown out of the sky and then he finds this town of women who save him from the Nazis, I'm thinking, what the hell have I walked into? But I love the film because it's about one guy who is struggling with the aftermath of being beaten by a group of men who think he's homosexual, and because he likes wearing women's shoes. That's the kind of main driving theme of the film. It's his struggle with being who he is and being accepted for who he is, and the aftermath of the attack caused him to have memory loss, and really it's ruined his whole life. He was a prominent artist, he's a brilliant artist, and it's just ruined his life. And I didn't realise that it was a true story. This guy is a real life guy and he really did these things. And I think all the issues that are kind of explored in the film are really sensitive and they're handled so beautifully, and it's really kind of crushing in some scenes because you really feel sorry for this guy and what he's gone through, and the relationships he sparks up with these very strong and influential women in his life, and how those women have given him strength and given him a purpose and really helped him. And I think it shows like the attackers, because they're like a group of men, as like the villains, and then this group of women who don't know each other, they're just women that he knows in his life. It just shows them as a divine kind of positive influence in his life, and they help him get through every day. So I really loved that. It's such a subtle film, and I can see why not a lot of people would have liked it, because it's not like a action kind of a film, and it blends kind of stop motion. It's not stop motion, but it's like animation with real life, and it's very quirky and very unique. But I really loved it, and I would definitely watch it again, and maybe even buy it on DVD. And I know like DVDs aren't a thing anymore, but I'm an avid collector and I would love to own the film. So Welcome to Marwen is my favourite film of this month. So we now move on to my favourite ASMR artist, and this one has really changed me. And it's one that she is a very prominent ASMR artist, and you guys would have heard of her. She's very popular, but I only recently discovered her channel about a few months ago actually, and I have been hooked, and I've really just been solely listening to her videos. I just find myself wanting to watch them all the time, simply because she is a master at what she does. Absolute master. She's born to do this. It's phenomenal. So I will find you a video. Let's take my phone off aeroplane mode, so I apologise if it buzzes or makes a noise. So I'll go on to my favourites. Let's scroll all the way down because it's not organised that well. Okay, so let's turn the volume down. And the artist for this month that I have been absolutely obsessed with is Latte ASMR. And I'm going to show you my favourite video of hers, which I watch every single day. And the first like 10 minutes is my favourite, and I don't know why. I just love the way she like presses the glasses up. You'll see. Oh, you can't see. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Hang on, let me just turn the brightness up. Maybe that's the problem. Okay, so I'm going to have to keep my phone down here because I have my window. You can see the reflection there and you won't be able to see, so I'm going to try and keep it at an angle that you can see. Okay, so that's better. Don't you just love those typing sounds? I love that.
Hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay? Great. Very good.
I love it. So that is Little Delight in the Office by Latte ASMR. And she, I just don't know how she does it. Every single video that I have seen is an absolute immersive experience. Her backgrounds are just, it's like you are literally there, and her mannerisms are super deliberate. Her voice is just so soft and gentle, and she is just perfect at what she does. And the little cutaways that she has, so for instance if you went to pick up something, she would cut away to it in a separate shot, and I just really love that, and I think that's so creative, and I am so inspired by it. And I really love the just dedication and the passion that she has behind her channel. I think it's just super underrated, and I just wish I could do stuff like that for my channel, but I think she's just brilliant, and I've been watching her videos on absolute repeat and binging them, so check out Latte ASMR. So next we come on to my favourite thing. Now my favourite thing I actually received for my birthday, and it is a DeLonghi Dedica coffee machine, and I love coffee. Like I could literally drink it all day long if it didn't give me like heart palpitations if I drank too much. But I love cappuccinos and you know, flat whites and stuff like that. I'm not really a latte kind of gal, but I love cappuccinos. And I went to Trieste in November. As some of you saw, I did a little vlog video kind of short film thing for my time there, and I had the most wonderful coffee I could even begin to describe. And I came back and I was like, oh, I don't really want filter coffee anymore. I want a proper ground, you know, bean to cup, cappuccino with the frothy milk and all of that. So my birthday was coming up that same month, and I got some money for my birthday and I put it towards this coffee machine, and I am in love. I have a cappuccino every morning, and I've tried a whole different varieties of coffee grounds and coffee beans. So I found that the ground coffee is better for me because it skips that step of grinding your own coffee beans. I do it sometimes, but maybe just like at the weekend when I've got more time. But yeah, this is like, I think the machine itself was like £100, and it was like the cheapest but most decent one that I could afford, and it fits in really nicely in this like little gap between my kettle and my freezer. So it's super space saving as well, and it's really easy to clean and use as well. And I think I might do like a little coffee video, like a lo-fi coffee video one day. That might be quite nice. So that is my favourite thing for this month and last month. So now we move on to my favourite cosmetic, and one thing that I have been using fairly recently actually, I'd say for only a week or so, but it has changed my life. I know that sounds so dramatic, but you will find out why in a moment. So it seems like a bit of a random product, but bear with me. It's called Gloves in a Bottle, and it's a shielding lotion. And I had no idea that this kind of a product exists. It's basically it's not just a lotion that kind of sinks into your skin. It actually goes, if you can see that on top, it actually goes like, it sits on top of your skin, and it creates like a protective barrier to water, moisture, all those horrible things that make your skin dry. Now, not that I have dry hands, but I have Raynaud's disease. So Raynaud's disease is essentially the constriction of the blood vessels in your hands, feet, face, the extremities. I get it in my fingers and my toes, especially in the winter months. It's caused by fluctuations in heat and cold, and also it can be triggered by stress. Now, one of the side effects of Raynaud's disease, not only is it painful and a pain in the ass, but it is the hardening or thickening of the skin on the extremities. So I believe it's called scleroderma, and basically I don't get it on my hands, thankfully, but I do get it on my toes. And I know this sounds really gross, but the tips of my toes will crust over and have tiny little crusts on them that eventually fall off. And they're just hard pieces of skin that, it's quite gross really. Anyway, so I've been searching for products which are going to help the appearance of that and help to prevent it and help to make my Raynaud's a little bit more manageable. And I found this, and I also found a company who sold this, who also sold Raynaud's socks, which contain a little bit of silver in them, which helps keep the Raynaud's at bay. And I've got them on right now, but I'm not going to show you those. Get my feet out. But I found this, and from the moment I used it, from the first time I used it, I instantly could tell the difference. The texture is very strange. It's kind of like, it's not a lotion, it kind of feels like slippery. That's the best word I can describe for it. And it doesn't wash off, so it only kind of washes off through like exfoliation and your natural shedding of your skin. But I started using it on my feet, and so far I haven't got the hardening of the skin on my feet. The overall texture of my feet have dramatically improved. I've only been using it for a week, so I started using it on my hands and even my face. So my hands are always like this horrible kind of, I've always been quite conscious of my hands, but I find that when I use this, my hands kind of look more uniform. I know that makes no sense, but they definitely don't feel dry, and they definitely feel, I don't know, like evened out. I don't know. And I even use it on my face before I go swimming, because I find that when I come out of the water, it's like the chlorine just bleaches all the moisture from my face, and no matter what I do, I can't get the moisture back, so I use this. Now I'm going to put some on my hands because I haven't put any on today, so hopefully there will be some nice lotion sounds. So if you suffer from eczema or any kind of other skin complaints, this literally is a lifesaver. or if you're a nurse or a healthcare practitioner and you wash your hands, or a chef or something, and you wash your hands on a frequently like a daily basis, then this is going to save your hands. So you only need like that much. Really, that's probably too much. And you just kind of work it into the skin until the kind of slipperiness disappears. And you will know, because it starts to feel, it starts to tug a little bit, it starts to feel tacky. It has no scent, which is nice. Sometimes products with like a lot of perfumes in them actually counteract putting the moisture back in. I'm quite sensitive to that kind of thing, so there you go. Kind of looks quite nice, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just me seeing things. So yeah, it's brilliant, and I use it on a daily basis. After I shower, I will rub a drop in each foot, and then put on my Reynolds socks. And then I will put some on my hands and then my face when I go swimming, before I go swimming. But honestly, total lifesaver. So that's it for this month's favourites. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and maybe we'll check out some of the products that I mentioned. If you have anything else that you would like me to try out, or films that you think I should watch, then please let me know. I would love to hear your opinions and thoughts about that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you again in another video. Take care.